Hello and very warm welcome to this edition of Aspire Red Carpet. For a man who started out acting in an era where it was said that models really can't act, where it was really tough to break into that mold, for the kind of trajectory that he's had ever since he got into this space, it's quite astounding. It's great to have Arjun Rampal on the show with us. Arjun, you know, they say there's no business like show business. When you reflect on that statement, for the kind of hits and misses that you have had, you know, it's been a checkered career for the most part, you know. There are ups and there are huge downs as well.
Yeah, sure.
How do you reflect on that statement?
There isn't any business like show business. You know, I think the only thing that comes similar to it is a roller coaster.
Yes.
You know, the feel that you have when you're going down, and you get that empty feeling in your stomach, you know, and then when you're right on top, just before you go and think, you feel you're the king of the world. You get that view. But that's what it is, because it's never the same day. It's never the same experience, you know, and if it was, it would be very boring. You know, you constantly are going out there in search of something new. You're constantly, you know, being challenged by an audience.
Yes.
You're being challenged by your critiques. You're challenging yourself and trying to make something new and different.
Correct.
Experimenting with different parts, with different stories, you know, with different genres. And so how can it, you're not going to get it all right all the time.
That's an absolute universal truth.
Yeah.
You can't really tell how an audience is going to accept your film.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But back in 2001 it was, when you started out with Pyar Ishq Aur Mohabbat.
That is correct.
You know, of course, your modeling career already established. You were plucked out of Hindu College by Rohit Bal, I think. He put you on the ramp.
Yeah.
And you already had that career going for you.
Yeah.
But how much had you thought this through? At the time, 2001, the first film, I mean, it's a dream, isn't it? For someone like you to get into the scene, it gets you the Filmfare Best Debut Award. So you think, this is great. This is what you were cut out for.
Yeah, but it's not about. No, I didn't think that. You know, in fact, it wasn't as easy as that. When I started off with this film called Moksh, and that was Ashok Mehta's film.
Yes.
And he really wanted me to be part of it. It was a very different film. It was a very different subject, and I thought, yes, that's something I could do. You know, I was not very comfortable with the song, dance. You know, being the chocolate boy, hero, all of that, I really was not, you know, and I don't think I still am. I think inherently it's not in me.
There would be a lot of people who disagree with you on that.
No, really, I really think that, and that's why the choices that I've made, and I think also why maybe some of my films didn't do as well as they should have.
Because you didn't position yourself as a chocolate boy.
Maybe because I
hero.
didn't have the belief, you know, that I'm doing it, and I was doing it.
Right.
You know, and maybe I was being dishonest with it.
Right.
You know, and I look at it like that.
Right.
You don't go and blame anybody. You look internally.
Sure.
In an industry like mine.
So you're saying those were conscious choices that you were making at that time? Even in Moksh, because you'd hear a critique saying that it's a 70mm portfolio of Arjun Rampal. This, like I started out by telling our viewers as well.
Okay.
Yes, someone actually said that.
Okay.
That this is a 70mm portfolio of Arjun Rampal, and there were others who were lauding your efforts as well. So obviously you're going to get all kinds of critique.
Yeah, you get it all. You can't satisfy everybody, but that's not the point. It's the satisfaction that you get from the film that is important.
Right.
You know, and when you go into a film, you just hope that you're going to get that. And that happens even till today.
Right.
You're extremely nervous before you start a film. I'm extremely cautious today, whatever subject that I choose to do and be a part of. Now, as you become successful, the baggage becomes about the numbers.
Yes.
You know, and it's sad. I think it's wrong for a film to just be judged according to its numbers rather than its content. You know, because there's some wonderful films that don't do those kind of numbers, but they're also not made in those big budgets. So, yeah, I think that's a business thing. People need to also strategize and say, maybe in business that certain films should be priced in a different way according to its budget. The ticket price should be maybe cheaper, you know, to go and watch a film like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the big budget, you know, festival films that come, you know, during holidays and holiday seasons and other big blockbuster films, yes, their ticket prices anyways you increase. So if you can have that logic of increasing it, why can't you have the logic of also kind of decreasing the prices of independent producers, cinema, and have those kind of theaters, which exist all over the world, and especially in the USA.
Right.
You know, you have theaters that you can go to, which are made by, which are indie films.
Right.
Okay, and you go in there and you get it at a much cheaper ticket. You go in there and
but you've been part of such cinema as well, Arjun.
Yeah, I've put my hands into everything.
Everything, because that's what I was saying right up front, that if you look at the trajectory of your career, if you look at your filmography, there's so much variety that I see, so much diversity in the kind of roles that you've taken up. One doesn't see that as the most obvious thing when one thinks of Arjun Rampal. Why do you think that's the case? Have you reflected on that at all?
Well, I think once you already have had a kind of an image that has been created by media people, it goes into their head, oh, that's a model, he's into fitness, he's good looking, he's going to be this. And then, but I don't know. I mean, today I think people kind of want to see me in different parts.
Right.
And that's the way I want.
That's the sense you get from social media, because that makes it easier for you to understand what they're expecting out of you.
Yeah, they do. They say, what are you working on? It'll be interesting. You go deep into it. We see that, and they like that. And that's the kind of fan base that you create. That's the kind of fan base that you want, for your films to have.
Sure. Back in 2002, when Aankhein came along, and that obviously made you kind of, I would imagine, would make you breathe a sigh of relief that, thank God, I mean, there is something that's happening right for me as well. Yeah. Was that the kind of feeling that you had, that, yeah, I've done a film with Amitabh Bachchan, it's kind of done well at the box office?
I didn't see anything in that. I was blind, I could be a blind guy, so I didn't even look at him.
Yeah.
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And then I did this other film with Mr. Bachchan called Ek Ajnabi.
Ek Ajnabi.
Okay. And I remember I went, and the first scene I'm doing, and I have to like walk up to him and backslap him and say, "What's up, Colonel?" I remember, and I couldn't say it because I looked into his eyes and I just froze. And he said, "What's wrong with you, Arjun?" So you've done a movie with me. So I said, "But I was blinded. I wasn't looking at you." I think each film has its journey. Aankhein had it. And you get a lot to learn from Mr. Bachchan. I've been very fortunate to work with wonderful actors through my career, and with Mr. Bachchan it's always special because the kind of dedication he has, the kind of zeal he has, and the discipline he brings onto a film, into his whole energy that comes onto a set. Is phenomenal.
What would you say was the breakthrough for you?
I think the big change and the big step where people really noticed and they started taking more seriously as an actor came in the period when I did Om Shanti Om, and then straight after that there was a film called The Last Layer, which went to festivals and did really well there. And right after that came Rock On.
That was the good
script. There were 3 good scripts, 3 totally different genres and 3 totally different directors, So I think that was the thing which kind of put me into a zone of my own.
Yes.
So I don't go and choose a film which is going to make me comfortable. It's going to pull me out of my comfort zone. It's going to be something which is going to really rattle me and give me a sleepless night, like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? I would do that movie, as opposed to a film saying, oh, this is like a safe bet.
Right. So the negative characters, I mean, it was easy to fall into that trap, right? To kind of look menacing, have characterization that was on the darker side. It's easy to go down a similar route. In the film industry, we've seen that happen all too often. Was it difficult for you to kind of bring yourself out of that kind of particular mold that many producers would want to put you in?
Yeah, what happens is the minute you're successful doing one thing, in India especially, we have this herd mentality where everybody says, okay, this is what you got to do now. Everybody's got to keep doing the same thing. They try to repeat you and milk you for that. And you have to protect yourself. And you have to say, no, I've done that. That was that. Now let's do something different and let's do something new. And I think talent is the choices you make. And that's what De Niro said.
Right.
And I think that makes a lot of sense to me. You have a choice before you go in, and you have to make sure that there's no good luck or bad luck. It's a good decision or a bad decision.
Right.
And you got to make a good decision for yourself, and that has to come from within, where you're absolutely clear and that this is what I'm giving 100% to, and you got to give it that.
Even if it doesn't work out at the box office.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That decision,
it will work. It will work on
eventually.
a certain level eventually. You
Right.
know, because you're not going to be bad in it.
Sure.
Okay, the movie might be bad.
Right.
Okay, but you'll be good.
But of course, we will talk about how good some of these movies have turned out to be, because they're all turning out to be sequels and following a trajectory of the kind of cinema that you create, saying, this works, why can't we have more of it? That's something else that you're doing, Arjun. We'll bring that up right after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back to this edition of Aspire Red Carpet. We're talking to Arjun Rampal. Great films already done, so many more to come, but many of them, and many would call you a sequel man, because look at it. There's Aake 2, there is Kahani 2, there is Rock On 2.
Yeah.
There's so many sequels that you're doing. For someone who's never wanted to follow a certain definite path, wanted to pull yourself out of a comfort zone like you were telling me, how does this add up?
Well, you see, I've also not been part of sequels, like a Dawn 2, okay, or a Houseful 2.
You walked out of that one.
No, I didn't.
You were already part of it, you walked out of it.
No, I didn't walk out of it. It was just that I believe a sequel is something where you maintain those characters, you know. I find it strange when you take a title of a film, okay, and you say, okay, we're making a sequel to it, but those characters are completely different.
Yes.
You know, I don't understand how that's a sequel. That maybe could be defined as a franchise.
Sure.
You know.
And certain franchises have done very well,
Yes.
like Doom, for example.
No,
Yeah.
and that's fine, right? That's fine. No, but I'm saying those characters still in Doom are the same. The cops, you know, Abhishek's character is always consistent in it.
Right.
It's the bad guy who changes. So yes, it's correct to have that as a franchise come a sequel.
Right.
But I'm saying there are other films which just take the title, it becomes a 2 or a 3 or a 4, and it's a totally different story. It's got nothing to do or connecting those characters. So the sequels that I'm doing, which are genuine sequels, would be a Rock On.
Sure.
Okay, and would be an Aake, because we are being taken forward as characters.
Right. The story is moving
in
ahead, so to
Kahani
speak.
2, it is a different story. You know, it's got nothing to do with Kahani, the first one. Okay, it's just
That was
a
one
different story.
Kahani,
But it
here's another.
works because the title is Kahani. It's just a story.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not.
Yes.
You can kind of go and define it as a different thing, and it works
Sure.
on that level. So yeah, I don't know how it happened. I took a break. I was just working very closely to the script called Daddy, which
Yes.
is a biopic on Arjun Gowli.
Yes.
And so I was in the process of all of that, and of course we were trying to do Rock On 2 for many years now.
Yes.
Okay, but we just didn't find the right script, and I knew it was coming together, and then finally Rock On 2 happened, and
Sure.
as Rock On 2 was happening, so Joy came and he said, "I'm doing this film," and I said, "What's it called?" And he said, "I don't know what to call it. I might call it Kahani too." Okay, and then I was like, okay, that's good.
Right.
You know, because it kind
Sure.
of.
But the
does-
script was interesting.
Yes, a very amazing script. And then I was doing Daddy, and as I finished these two, Gaurang Sardin popped up from nowhere and said that I'm doing Aake 2.
Yes.
So I don't know, I think it's a numerology is happening somewhere where these 2s and 3s and everything are getting stuck with me.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
But, you know, Rock On 2, for example, when you do a sequel at this point in time, the story has to move that much forward. So, as far as Joe Mascarenhas is concerned, are you convinced
I'm so glad
about...
you know my character.
Oh,
Nick.
absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You won the national award for
Yeah.
this. It really put you out in the spotlight. And I'm just wondering whether it's the forging of the kind of relationship that you need with the people who make films that is so important for you to really shine in your roles. And that's what I want to understand. Whether it's Farhan Akhtar at some point in time, even Prakash Jha, for example, who
Yeah.
you've had a long stint
Yeah.
with. I'm just wondering how important it is to maintain continuity in that to get the best out of an actor like you.
It's the most important thing.
So how did it work? Give me examples in Rock On or in...
A nice example of that, which I could give you from Rock On, was when I read the script, and in fact we were at this party in I think it was in where was it? It's in Jodhpur.
Okay.
We were in Jodhpur, and there was a launch of some magazine, and Farhan was there, and that's the first time we spoke about it. And I said, okay, send me the script, and I read the script. I really liked it. And while working on that film, I said we have to be like brothers.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to hang out together, jam together, go to the movies together, even when we are not working. That's part of the work process.
Sure.
And we did that. You know, we did that with the whole band. You know, because there was a Purab and a Luke, and we didn't know each other. None of us were that comfortable. Of course, I was comfortable with Farhan because I'd worked with him on Dawn, you know, and I'd done some other films with XL, so I knew him, but we were not like that close. To get that closeness in, which was important. And Zoya was watching the film, and she said, "Oh my God, are you guys going to kiss?"
In fact, I was speaking to her about this, and she did bring this up. There was a lot of chemistry.
Yeah, and I thought that was great to have. When I was doing Rajniti, Ranbir was, and now you're going into Prakash Jha's territory,
yes,
where you have Nana Sir, you have Ajay Devgan, you know, you have a Manoj Bajpayee, all of them very comfortable in that genre of
yes,
filmmaking.
Sure.
And all of them very close to Prakash Jha. And you have a Katrina, and you have a Ranbir, and me, who's the opposition of that political party.
Yes.
And Ranbir was very nervous, because he's also very new.
Sure.
And he said, "Dude, are we making the right choice? I mean, they'll chew us, you know, in this movie."
Yes.
You know, and that film was about this conflict, about things. So I said,
Warring
"Yeah, they will." I
factions,
said, "So what do we do?" So we both locked ourselves in the room. I said, "Okay, you tell me all your secrets, because we are playing brothers, okay? And I'll tell you all mine."
Right.
So he said, and then we go out of this room, and that's it. You know, the doors are shut, and it stays within us.
Right.
So that's a trust thing, right? So I said, "You go first." He told me all of his, and I was like, "Bye-bye." No, and then I wanted to. But then I said, "Okay," and we spoke. We spoke for many, many hours. We came out there. The whole body language had changed. The whole bond had changed. You know, everything changed. So you got to break these, and so you have these defining moments. When Abhishek Kapoor came to me, we just couldn't see eye to eye first on Rock On, you know, about Joe. And now he said, "Cannot play a white guitar." I said, "But you're Jitendra's nephew, dude. You should love a white guitar." Okay. He's like, "No, it should be a black guitar." So I was like, "Dude, it's a white guitar." Okay, he's a purist. And we would have a lot of little these tiffs, okay, till we did this one scene. Where I tell Farhan, when I sing Tomoto, and I tell Farhan, "Yaar, Adi, tu apni awaaz mein gaega na, to aur bhi acha lagega." So, and the way I said it, I could see Gattu was like, for the first time, very happy. And I went to my trailer.
Right.
After 20 minutes, my door slams open. He just looks at me like a big teddy bear with big tears in his eyes. And he said, "Oh, you are my Joe." And he came and gave me a big hug. So, yes, these moments, I think, help in defining relationships.
Yeah.
Those relationships can only be taken forward in a positive manner, because you have dropped your guard.
Right.
And that's what's important.
But talking about the comfort zone, one thing is that you're with actors who understand the importance of that kind of bonding, that kind of association to kind of bring the best out. But obviously it's a space as well, like for example being in Madhya Pradesh, for example. Do you have that kind of connect, or is it like you have that urban approach and it's
No,
that
see,
much
that's
more
where
difficult
people
because-
don't get me, you know. I mean, they don't realize a part of me. I have never been an urban boy.
No.
I never grew up in the city. I grew up in a small town called Devlali, which is close to Nasik. I was born in Jabalpur. I spent all my summer vacations, or sometimes even Christmas vacations, with my family in Jabalpur, you know, with my cousins, with my aunts there. So I know Madhya Pradesh, you know. I've traveled a lot in India. I went to boarding school then in Kodaikanal. Then I went to Delhi, and I was in a hostel in Hindu College. And they have a very strong, you know, student, youth political parties that are there, you know. And they have a serious election that takes care there. There's a lot of Gunda Raj that happens around there, you know, especially where we were growing up. And I've seen all of that. I've seen all of that closely.
Yes.
So it's nice when I can do it and they say, hey, Arjun, how did he play this politician? How did he kill that cop?
You like that reaction?
I
You
love
like the
that.
surprise.
That's what I like. You know.
That's what we aim for.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I just find it interesting, Arjun, because you put yourself out there in so many different roles and so many different kinds of films, perhaps because you believed in the filmmaker, like Nikhil Advani, for example.
Yeah.
He had done so badly for himself with Salame-Ishq, with Chandni Chowk to China. They'd all bombed at the box office, even Patiala House. And after that, you go ahead and do D-Day with him.
Yeah, you know, you have to take your risks as well. I mean, also Nikhil's also responsible for Kalona, which was a great film. With D-Day, I said he's coming out of his comfort zone. He is going to be on edge.
Sure.
And if he's on edge, and if an actor like an Irfan is also liking the script, and you've got a good actor in him, I know there's something there.
The important part, and this day and age, is to connect with youth as well. As an actor, it seems very important because that's your larger audience. I don't know how much you keep your audience in mind when you choose the kind of roles that you do, when the characters that you play, you are looking at a larger connect, perhaps taking away from something on social media as well. But I'm going to take a very small break. I'll come back and talk to you about that as well, because there is the connect that I want to find with Rock On, the sequel as well, Rock On 2. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Just take that. Welcome back. On this edition of Aspire Red Carpet, I'm in conversation with Arjun Rampal. Arjun, I was talking to you about finding a youth connect, because that seems to be so important right now in this day and age. How much do you keep that into account? Because when I see the sequel of Rock On, I'm just wondering, there is a Western construct over here, but then there is an Indianization to it as well. I know that one of the songs was recorded in Kasi.
Yes.
Yes. So there is this kind of pride in being Indian. So you guys are going to be defining it, right? The new Indian, so to speak, with cult films like this, whether you talk about a Rang De Basanti, whether you talk about Dil Chahta Hai, these were movies that really defined the thought of youth. Whether you're talking to an urban youth audience or now mass audience, that doesn't make a difference right now because there's so much integration.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's difficult, you know, because you have different audiences in different parts of India, you know, and some people like just the conservative way of watching films. So again, the audience is somebody who's changing all the time. But now, in recent times, if you see, look at the Western films that are coming in. You know, they're doing fantastically well at the box office. You know, so that's content. I think what today people are looking for is really good content. Okay, you see a film like Pink. You know, newcomers, Amitabh Bachchan is not the main lead of the film, but he's still a very strong he plays a very strong part in the film. A fantastic movie, okay, very content driven. If you take Neerja, okay, again a film which did brilliantly, you know, again content driven. So I think content is what is king today.
Right.
I think audiences going out there and spending their time, money and energy to go and sit in a theatre to watch a film want to basically be entertained.
Sure.
Whatever genre of film you make, to engage an audience into the film, you know, where they are participating.
And that's a very key word that you're using, this kind of engagement, Arjun.
Yes.
How do you manage to do that? Because right now you're seeing it
You can only do it, you can only do it once you're true to the part that you're playing.
Sure.
Marketing is important, okay, but and that can bring in an audience, but finally it is the film that is going to speak for itself, for it to have a longevity.
Excellent. Arjun, it's such a pleasure talking to you.
Same here.
Thank you so much for joining us.
We'll do one longer one when we have more time.
Absolutely. Cheers. Pleasure.
Lovely.